We are live. Happy Wednesday, folks watching the live stream, and happy Friday, folks in Richmond that's listening to this on the air. If you don't know me, where you been at? What rock are you under? No, I'm Mike Asherbrander, professionally known as the Redneck Connector and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And you are tuning in to Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM. I am actually excited and a tiny bit nervous for our amazing guest today, Dr. Cruz, and we're going to be talking about the things that women need to know over 40. All right. And with a guy with a whole bunch of women in his house, this is also going to be educational for me as well. So if you're not a woman, tune in. Because we have them in our house, we work with them professionally, and when you understand each other, boy, things can get done faster, and you can have more harmony. Dadgummit. So let's roll this intro, and we will be right on track, folks.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
All right, let's bring up Dr. Cara and see if she knows anything about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. It's 50-50 over here. The last one was no. All right, so Dr. Cara, welcome to the show. And you're in Texas, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here with you today, Mike.
Yes, ma'am. So you probably do know about crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, so...
Oh, so you learned it later in life. Well, that's okay. We grandfathered you in then. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. So I don't have a whole lot to say because I'm learning, but this is so important, guys. The way the Hounds of Business and just common sense, right? We focus on tactics and implementation, especially when we start a business, career, whatever. And then maybe strategy if you're fortunate. But what we overlook is self-mastery, right? We look under understanding and taking care of ourselves. So I'm excited. Let me just dive straight into this, Dr. Cara. So I've been reading a little bit about your work, and it's actually firing me up. Again, because I work with a lot of women. I got a wife, and I got two girls growing quick, right? But here's what's interesting. Right? Nobody else is saying this. At least I'm not hearing them say it. You're saying it may not be their fault that they can't lose weight over 40. That's a pretty daggone bold statement. So what made you realize that, a lot of these things we're taught, a lot of the diet industry and stuff, they're barking up the wrong tree? Give us a little background.
Well, there's a lot of... You said a lot in that statement. Mm-hmm.
I usually do. But give us a little background on how you came into this arena and what you saw as truth.
Yeah, well, I know what I learned in medical school. And then when I hit perimenopause, what I learned in medical school wasn't working for me. So I was like, what the heck? So I dove down into the research and I realized that a lot of the stuff that I was taught was old. And when we look at a lot of the healthcare studies and suggestions and all that, it's made for healthy males aged 20 to 45 years old. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking at me and I'm not a healthy male that's in that age. So, it's like
a little different.
It doesn't work. Oh, because it works for men and not for women. We have these things called hormones, and all of us have them, but women have them in different levels in the body than men do. And so what works for a man is glorious, but doesn't always work for a woman. So why did I start doing this? I think you asked that in your intro.
Oh, yeah.
Is because I was anxious, depressed, fat, and infertile. And I got to a point where I was like, something isn't adding up. And the conventional medical system was like, here's some more drugs for you. Like, oh, your depression, we have a pill for that. Oh, you're infertile. Well, we have a shot in the butt for that. Oh, and it's like, what if I chose not to take all of these things? What are my options? And they were like a deer in headlights. So I literally went to medical school to solve my own problems. I never ever saw me seeing patients. I never saw me like practicing in a conventional medical practice. I was literally there to save my own life.
Hey,
and I learned a lot.
Folks who've been listening to this know that's the Hounds way. We're just regular people that got sick and tired of seeing something, bury their head in the sand. We do it for us, and then we go, holy cow, there's so many other people out there, right? And I love that. That's why we have you up here. You care about people, and you found the way around it. They won't. Most of the time, they won't. They won't go to school, can't go to school. They can't go and, spend the 40 hours a week to figure this out. That's why you exist, right?
Yeah. Well, not only that, what we teach in medical schools is actually 20 years prior of research. It takes about 20 years for any of the current research to make it into the educational system. So, like, I'm studying to get my licensing exam right now because I had the benefit of practicing under medical doctors up in Chicago, and down in Texas, I no longer have that. I am literally studying outdated stuff. Like, I'm like, why am I studying this stuff? It seems pointless. But that's the way our educational system works at this time.
All right. So we got to go back a little bit. You've got women all over the country saying, finally, someone gets it, right? I mean, seriously, that's what I saw immediately with your presence on and offline. And you discovered, like you said, something that most doctors are completely missing, right? Whether it's no fault of their own, it's just not happening when it comes to stubborn weight and hormone struggles. So take us back, if you don't mind. Well, your own journey. When was that light bulb moment of, oh, wow, like, okay, I can go and help people. I didn't intend to do that at first, but now I can go help people. What was that aha moment when you're like, this needs to get out?
It started on a Friday night. I had my first hot flash. I had hot flashes through Sunday afternoon, and I was like, oh my gosh, women deal with this for decades. I've done it for 3 days. I can't handle it. Like, I was like, no. And I put my foot down and I started treating myself. And I was like, I was looking at all the mainstream doctors out there that are helping women with their hormones. And I'm like, no one's talking about these chemicals. No one's talking about the chemicals that are actually causing the hormone disruptions, because the money is in the bioidenticals. And so a lot of these doctors skip right to the bioidenticals, and it's like, well, but those are reproductive hormones, and those are not survival hormones. So if we're fixing our reproductive hormones that are so far downstream of our survival hormones, we're not really getting hormonally healthy.
Let me ask you this. See, that's what I like about you. And I want folks out there listen. Go to Dr. Cara. So it's DrKarah.com. Cara with a K. Dr. Cara. And here's why. Because you didn't just go out there to figure out how to sell a program to help people. You went out there and got schooling and license, all of this stuff to find something that exists, to only realize nothing that at least meets your standards and needs. It really existed, or you couldn't find it. That's what's impressive to me. You just didn't do it to sell, right? You did it because you want to handle it. And people also was like, no, I'd rather not go through 20 years of school. I'd rather hire you, right, or read a book or whatever from you. And so that's why we do what we do. I wanted folks to know your heart, who you are, because there's a lot of resources. But you can read 20 books and still be at the same spot. You really need a guide and somebody who has been there and done that, which is you, right? But B also has the know-how and the research and the things to help them, not just general advice, right? So we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. So you had mentioned this before, and I'm gonna mess up the words because that's what I do. But correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you told me before 80% of the women in perimenopause are fighting to explain the unexplained weight loss, but they also think they're eating too much, right? Like, oh well, it's me, and I'm eating and I'm causing this. So break it down for us folks, especially us country folks. What's really going on inside of them in their bodies at 40 and above?
Well, during perimenopause, our hormones are kind of mismatching and balancing. So they're kind of all over the place. So our body wants to protect ourselves. So what ends up happening with the weight is our fat cells migrate from other parts in our body over to our abdominal area.
Wow.
So your ovaries, your uterus, and your fat cells are the primary makers of estrogen. And during perimenopause, our ovaries and our uterus are kind of like confused. Sometimes they shoot out the estrogen, sometimes they don't. So the body kind of, to protect itself and try to maintain that estrogen level, puts our fat cells around our organs. So this is why a lot of women see the belly fat and the weight gain during perimenopause. But then we're also dealing with these things called environmental toxins that are not only teaching our fat cells to hold on to more fat, but they're actually duplicating ourselves. So if we're exposed to these chemicals 10, 20 years, most of our lives, but 10, 20 years before we're going through perimenopause, these chemicals have already basically reprogrammed our body, and our body is not in alignment with what's going on during our hormonal changes in perimenopause.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this. When those things happen, they don't come with a street sign and an email. Hey, your body's about to change. Get ready, right? So you're just doing life for the last 40 years, and then somewhere you start feeling different. You get, people, you're grumpy, or your husband might be running away, right? Is this so? Walk us through. How do they know? Because if they go, oh, you know what? This ain't just me having problems. This is a biological thing, right? And if everybody understood what you just said, hey, your body's doing stuff you're not in charge of, that can change the whole game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what are the signs that, hey, this is time for me to research, dive in, and start reading on your Dr. Carr's website? Because now, so what are some things to expect that might warrant?
Well, that's the $1 million question, because we are each a biological magical miracle. And what we've done for those 40 years prior to this transition is going to determine what signs and symptoms our body gives us that we're starting that to transition in that point of our lives. So some women have joint pain, some women have weight gain, some women have brain fog. It really, really depends on the woman. And so if we can nail down that exact thing, we'd be millionaires, Mike, because then we would have like, hey, you're experiencing this in your body. Come talk to Dr. Kara. Let's get you on a healthier path so that these things don't get worse in the long run. Usually what I tell women is when you hit 35, what's changed? What has changed in your body? If it is one of the symptoms that has correlated to perimenopause, then you might want to look into some perimenopausal solutions. But if it's not, then let's look at other things that are connected to those signs and symptoms. But I will tell you that's probably hormone, to a certain degree, hormone related.
So correct me if I'm wrong. It just sounds like if I'm going to living life and all of a sudden something just ain't right or it feels different, and pay attention to it. Don't just say, oh, well, it's, bad day, gas, whatever. Like, hey, this could be, well, it could save you a lot of time down the road, right? If you notice it when you're 35 and it starts to really, amplify, then now you realize, hey, this is a process. This is menopause. And you're not like freaking out. So do women usually like freak out? I mean, like your client base, is it kind of a surprise, or is it like, hey, I know what's happening, just need some help not making it worse? Like because some can go through it and never have a problem, I guess, right? But a lot of women are like, oh my goodness. And so what is that course of action when they start seeing something? Investigate it. Don't take it lightly. Like, what's your best kind of direction?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, become self-aware. Like, sit with yourself, figure out what's going on in your body. What I started doing was a journal. I started writing down my symptoms, and then I looked, and I was reading some pretty good books about perimenopause and the transition and all that kind of stuff. But create the conditions for health within your body, because if you're not healthy, your hormones aren't healthy. And so we go to the basics in my program. We talk about sleep. We talk about, obviously, the chemicals. Stress is a huge factor in whether you're going to be symptomatic during menopause and whether you're going to be asymptomatic in menopause.
I'm not even going to pretend to know the difference yet, but I don't have to. You know it. So, but what you're saying is general health, well-being is could minimize, right, a lot of these effects or uncomfortable, undesired symptoms of what's going to happen anyway. So if you have somebody who's active and they're eating right, they have an advantage, obviously, over someone who's like, oh no. But it could be a catalyst. It could be the time for you to turn it around. Like, hey, not just trying to take a pill, like you said, but what if I eat right? What if I got better sleep? And that's that holistic approach that I love about you. You're not oh, just do this, get out of the office. You're like, hey, lifestyle change, harmonious living. Boy, those can really make a factor, right? Especially if you're a businesswoman, you have a business, you're running a corporate division, then you come home, you got kids, especially if they act like mine. Woo, that's a lot of stuff. And then you throw biological issues on it. Wow. And I have that. Listen, I'm not trying to pretend I ain't something. But folks, I have 2 kids. That means I've been around a pregnant lady twice. Right? I can be empathetic, but I can't understand it. And so that's what I mean. That's why I like these shows, because I can walk away more equipped to understand, hey, or say, hey, somebody brings it up and you'd be shocked. They're like, hey, let's tell the redneck we're going through issues. That's the trust factor. And I love that, because, hey, Dr. Cara is the person you need to talk to.
Right.
And wow. So real quick, before we get it going, because I'm going to dive straight into some stories and some real life stuff. But don't forget, folks, you can go to Dr. Cara's website, Dr. Cara with a K. So drkarah.com. And while we're at it, let's give Mike King a shout out. Mike King Biz Radio, man, this guy is so amazing, Dr. Cara. He pushes up his community and business like no other. No, when he goes to the ball games, they put his face on the Jumbotron. Oh, he don't ask for it. They just love the guy. And this is why our partnership is like when they put PB and J in the same jar, man. I'm still talking about it 20 years later. So thank you, Mike King. Thank you, ESPN and Richmond. Love our partnership. And if you want to see this live, tap into some more resources. You're trying to build or scale a business, man, don't do that alone. Shameless plug. Hounds of Business. All right, you can find us on YouTube at Hounds of Business. You can find me, Redneck One, or Hounds of Business on LinkedIn. Or you can shoot me a carrier pitch, and I still take those, right? It's not cost you. So back to the show, man. Wow. So let's just get into this. Just because I want people to reach out to you. I want them to engage in the website, right? I want them to do their homework and then say, wow, that I can have a better life through this process. This can be maybe a blessing if you do it right, like if you know what to expect and how to handle it. But here's what I love. I've read something, or you said it. Didn't you say as your age creeps up, so does your waistline? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because almost, it's unfortunate, but about 80% of America can say, yes, that is me. So,
Yeah. Oh, I'm 40. I just turned 44. It happened to me too. Yeah. I'm skinny fat. It's weird. Yeah. So
you're like my brother. He's the same way. He's like all belly. But yeah. So in men, that's a sign that you got a little bit of high cortisol. You got some stress on your plate there, sir. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Well, but what you're saying is there's a way to break that cycle. You're not just a victim to it, right? So if you don't mind, walk us through it, at least in general, just briefly. Walk us through what's really happening and, how women can fight back. So if it's basic nutrition and things, like what are some basic things that they could do now and later?
Oh, gosh. Real basic things.
Yeah.
Stop doing all the cardio, ladies. So
really?
Yes. So ladies don't realize that when we do cardio, when we do 20, 30 minutes of it, it actually spikes our cortisol.
Wow.
And so if you're doing that in the evening, you just spiked your cortisol and you need melatonin to get a restful night's sleep. Your melatonin's like, well, there's high cortisol, so why do I need to be secreted? So it's going to disrupt your sleep. And then the next morning, your cortisol is going to be off balance. Strength train instead.
Wow.
HIIT training is probably the best type of training for perimenopausal women because it not only includes that high intensity cardio, but it also builds your muscles. Second one, walk outside. So what I usually do with my ladies is I have them strength train, do 3 20-minute HIIT workouts per week, and then every day take a walk outside. Because not only are you getting in tune with nature. So your frequency in your body is tuning in with the frequency of the earth. And that's very calming for our bodies. You're also getting sunlight, so you're getting some vitamin D. So your hormones are regulating. I don't know if you know, but vitamin D is actually a hormone. It's not a vitamin.
Really?
Yep.
Someone in my life was told to get vitamin D, and it was almost like a miracle.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, no kidding. You just buy the Dollar General. I didn't know that. I was like,
or well, you can't really see it, but these are my maitake mushrooms that I forged. You just throw those in some Tiro's vodka for 6 months, and then you got yourself a tincture with enough vitamin D for the rest of the year.
wait a minute. You got mushrooms in a jar back there?
You sure do. Right
Okay,
there.
that's way above crawfish and singing on a Friday night. You need to bring your jars to the pig roast. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna make it.
Oh yeah. Strength train, get outside, protein focused breakfast. That's going to be hint number 3. So what I see a lot of perimenopausal women getting on the intermittent fasting boat, which I absolutely love. We should have digestive rest, but they're doing it incorrectly. Most perimenopausal women are not eating until noon. And we need breakfast to really give our progesterone, which is our calming hormone, the raw ingredients to produce. So if you're not eating healthy fats and protein in your breakfast, your progesterone has nothing to be made with per se. So reverse your intermittent fasting, eat within 1 hour of waking, and then stop eating 4 hours to 5 hours before you go to bed.
Okay. See, this is why I love what I do. All right. So I need to connect you with David Manansky because it's like Batman and Catwoman right there. No, because I love what you guys are. You're talking about basic, simple, overlooked. You know, it's not the most popular thing to advertise basic things, right? Like, you know, you're not gonna make $1 gazillion with saying, "Hey, sleep better," and let me put this in order for you. But that's what people need, Dr. Carr, and that's why we love you, because you're not trying to do things. You're trying to help the people that you serve. And one size doesn't fit all, right? There's general rules and practices, and then there's specifics, right? And we're going to get into that because that's why people should call you when they get to that point, because I could read 1,000 finance books, but there's no comparison when someone sits down and walks me through it. And that's why we want you on here, because people have an impact to make, and this is going to get in the way of if they don't take charge of it. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to see their business get, rocked. I don't want to see their relationships get tanked over something that is absolutely identifiable and preventable or
easily
manageable.
Yeah, easily fixable. You had asked me before, like, when do I start seeing my women? I usually don't see the women until their symptoms have affected their businesses.
Right. It's already negative consequence. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's hard to pull your head out the sand. I mean, in general, I've done it. I was like an ostrich for most of my life, just head in the sand. But pulling it out, man, I'm telling you, there's light in the tunnel as well as out of it. So look, in the last 5 minutes, let's get down. You've got a lot of folks, right? So walk us through. All right, practical. There's a woman out there listening right now. She's 45, frustrated as heck because she can't. Nothing's working. Right.
Yeah.
Walk us through some success story. You work with these types of women all the time. So tell us about somebody's life that was completely changed from this toxin hormone connection. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Gosh.
Look, I just put you on the spot.
I know. I really like to talk about myself, not my patients. First and foremost, because everybody's journey is so unique. And I use myself as kind of a stepping stone as well as a guinea pig for a lot of these things.
Well, in your life, what did you identify that you can help other women in that same wheelhouse?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. My journey started a decade ago. And it first started with me just eating more fruits and vegetables. And then it started with me eating less. And I have to say that for every opportunity that I've had to create the conditions of health within my own life, I've had a significant change. So I would have known we literally been focusing on weight loss, I would have brought a picture of myself. I was 210 pounds. I'm like 135 now.
Whoa.
Yeah. I needed to make changes in my life. And so it's like trying to like think of specific examples, but like juicing. I had never juiced before. I started juicing and I was like, this is what it's like to have all of your vitamins and minerals and nutrients within the body. My energy was phenomenal. I've now replaced that with a like a nutritional shake. Here, you know what? I just gave it to my neighbor who's really, really struggling with her weight and cystic acne on her face during perimenopause. Gave her a week's worth of the shakes. Hormonal acne is completely gone.
No kidding.
You know why? Because her body was micronutrient deficient. And so all just drinking a yummy shake every single day got her well balanced and create all those deficiencies were now met.
Oh, but see, you can go 3 years unnecessarily and never figure that out.
Correct.
But you could go on for your whole life and just, that's the problem. My goodness. And that's why you're here. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Seriously. And Boz Porter, he also, I need to connect you with him. This guy, great guy. He helps women, not with this, but he helps women with like business issue and what's going on in here, and how to get over that. Oh yeah. And that's why I know a little bit because the Hounds was like 96% women in the first 2 years, right? So yeah, I mean, you build relationships, you learn, and this is why we branch out. We want people to have what they need because there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
You can be happy and harmonious. So you have last minute. Let's go there. You have an upcoming webinar. Tell the folks about that, and then the next step. Once they go to your website, what can they, set an appointment? What do they do to connect and learn more?
Yeah. So if they go to my website and they click on workshops and classes, I have an upcoming workshop on the 17th. We are talking about the top 9 chemicals that are affecting us as women specifically. I'm talking screwing up our metabolism, our mood, our hormone balance, you name it, they're screwing us up. So we go through each one, how it's affecting our bodies, why it's affecting our bodies, and then they leave with a workbook. That way they can strategically remove these throughout their house over the course of the next 6 months. Again,
Wow.
like I'm not in the camp of completely redesigning your life. It's just absolutely not feasible for most people. It wasn't feasible for me. So small incremental changes add up. So I always say small changes plus time equal big results.
Amen.
Right? Like think about it. If you were to do 10 push-ups every single day, rocking would your arms be at the end of the year? 10 push-ups. So in the workbook, we talk about week 1. You're going to find the one that's most prevalent in your house, and you're going to find alternatives, and you're going to switch it. And then week 2, and so it's a very clear-cut roadmap so that they can recreate a chemical-free home like I have.
Okay, I'm smiling like a silly monkey because I recently met an attorney lady in business doing a lot of stuff, and the very first thing she said to me on the phone was, "Hey, I'm 61 and can do 100 push-ups," and I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, not me." But my point is that that's somebody who plays ahead. That's someone who faced what most women face, right, if not all, and did something about it. And you can too. So don't say, "Oh, not me," and I'm too busy and blah blah blah. It's too hard. No, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, take the baby step. Go to drkara.com to get conversations rolling. Show up to a workshop, right? Take baby steps that add up to giant steps, folks, because you work too hard to unravel it, right? That's it. So go out there and live fully. Dr. Cara, you're something else. I appreciate you. Got to have you back on the show. I could already see an HOB live panel in the making right now, my friend. Plus, I've got about a gazillion people I can introduce you to that can overlap, because you can help people like Boz can help people, or we can come together and help a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that's the Hounds way. So my friend, I appreciate you. Can't wait to have you back. Audience, love you guys. Boz, Hounds, thank you for showing up. And listen, if you want a deeper dive, want to learn some more, if you're on the radio listening in, go to our YouTube channel. That's the first place to start. Hounds of Business, folks. We'll see you back next week with the one and only, another Hollywood stuntman, Curtis Rivers turned businessman. Don't miss this, folks. Have a good one. Wave. I like to do Princess Wave. There you go. Thank you. We'll see you next week, folks.
Thank you, Mike. It's been.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.